Picture this, folks, and let it sink deep into your bones like a winter chill off the Mississippi. It's June 6, 1944, dawn breaking over the Normandy coast, where the cliffs of Pointe du Hoc stand jagged against a sky bruised with smoke. The English Channel churns below, red as a butcher's apron, stained with the blood of boys who ain't yet grown a full beard. Young Tommy from Brooklyn, 18 years, a pack of Chesterfields in his pocket and a sweetheart's locket tucked under his GI greens, huddles in a Higgins boot, spray soaking his boots, his knuckles bone white around the strap of his M1 Garand. The ramp's about to drop, and when it does, hell itself yawns wide open. Bullets scream through the air, sharp as hornets, kicking up sand and shrapnel. Across that blood-soaked beach, a squad of Wehrmacht boys in their Feldgrau, hardened sons of the Rhine, weaned on blitzkrieg and goose-step pride, catch sight of these Yanks charging forward, clutching what looks to them like some polished deer rifle from a Sears catalog. They laugh. Oh, they laugh good and hard. Ach, Amerikaner mit ihrem Spielzeuggewehr, one of them sneers, slapping his bolt-action Car 98K like it's the scepter of war itself. To these German lads, that Garand's a joke, a semi-auto toy from a land of jazz and Coca-Cola, no match for the cold precision of German engineering, the thunder of Mauser steel tempered in the fires of the Kaiser's old wars. They reckon it'll jam in the mud, seize up like a Model T on a dusty back road, or just sputter out after a few pops. Underestimate? Hell, they mock it outright, those gray-clad ghosts, chuckling from their bunkers, sure their Car 98Ks, 5 rounds, bolt-cycled, steady as death, will send these Yanks running back to their boats. They're wrong. Dead wrong. 'Cause when that first GI squeezes the trigger, the world shifts. Ping! 8 rounds rip out in the blink of an eye, semi-auto fire tearing through the fog like the wrath of an angry god. Crack, 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 crack! Germans drop before they can work their bolts, their laughter choking into screams, their pride curdling into panic. That beach, it runs red with the irony of it all.
Welcome to the reckoning, boys. This ain't no dime store novel or Hollywood flicker show. This is the story of the M1 Garand, the rifle that turned mockery into dust, that gave the free world its edge in the bloodiest fight humanity ever saw. So pull up a chair, light a lucky strike, and let's walk this road together, down through the smoke and sacrifice, where history's written in lead and courage. What you're about to hear ain't polished or prettied up. It's carved straight from the foxholes, the after-action reports, the letters home that never got answered. No fluff, just the raw, unfiltered truth. To understand that beach, that ping that rang like Judgment Day, you gotta roll the clock back, way back to the smoke-choked foundries of Springfield Armory, Massachusetts, in the shadow of the Great War's end. It's 1919, and the world's still staggering from the slaughter. Mud of the Somme, gas clouds over Ypres, trenches that swallowed whole generations. America's doughboys limp home, their Springfield 1903 rifles slung over weary shoulders. Fine guns, those 03s, accurate, reliable, but relics in a world where the German MG-08 machine gun chewed through men like a reaper through wheat. The lesson's clear. Bolt actions, with their slow, deliberate cycle, can't keep pace in the machine age. The Army needs something new, something that fires as fast as a man can think. Enter John Cantius Garand, a quiet French-Canadian born in 1888 in Quebec, the same year Hiram Maxim's machine gun set the stage for modern war. Garand's no soldier, he's a tinkerer, with mill workers' calluses and a mind sharper than a bayonet. Hired at Springfield Armory in 1908, he's tasked with the impossible: build a semi-automatic rifle that feeds like a Swiss watch, hits like a mule's kick, and feels like an old friend in a soldier's hands.
The years grind on. The Roaring Twenties blaze with flappers, speakeasies, and Ford's assembly lines. But Garand's holed up in his workshop, wrestling gas systems, recoil springs, and feed mechanisms. By 1927, he's got a prototype, the T3 they call it, gas-operated, chambered for the .30-06 Springfield round, a walnut stock cradling its blued steel heart. But the Army brass? They're stubborn as Missouri mules, wedded to their bolt actions. Too fancy, they mutter, too prone to break. Tests drag on, muddy fields and sand pits chewing up early models. Rivals like John Pedersen and Melvin Johnson throw their own designs into the ring. But Garand keeps at it, refining, tweaking, driven by a fire no one else sees. The Great Depression hits, bread lines snake through cities, and Garand's burning midnight oil on a government dime. Finally, January 9, 1936, the breakthrough. The Army adopts the U.S. Rifle Caliber 30 M1, 8 rounds in an N-block clip, steel wafers that snap into the receiver like fate sealing shut. Gas tapped from the barrel cycles the bolt, smooth as silk. Effective range, 400 yards, lethal at point blank. Weight, 9.5 pounds, balanced like a Louisville slugger. Muzzle velocity, 2,700 feet per second, enough to punch through steel, bone, and hubris. Production ramps up in 37 at Springfield, with Winchester joining in 41 as the world ignites. By the time Pearl Harbor's smoke clears, 500,000 Garands are in arsenals, each one a promise etched in steel. America's ready to fight. But across the Atlantic, the Wehrmacht is already laughing, not at the rifle yet, but at the decadent Yankees who think they can stand against the fatherland's might. Their weapon? The Karabiner 98K, a shortened heir to the Gewehr 98 of the Great War. 5 rounds in a stripper clip, chambered for the potent 7.92 by 57 mm Mauser cartridge. Accurate as a sniper's whisper out to 600 yards, rugged as the Siegfried Line, trusted by stormtroopers from Warsaw to Paris. To the Germans, semi-autos are parlor tricks, flashy, fragile, prone to failure in the grit of battle. Their doctrine's built on fire and maneuver, with the MG-42 machine gun as the squad's god, spitting 2,000 rounds a minute. Why bother with a rifle that fires as fast as you pull? Bolt actions win wars, they reckon. Precision over panic, discipline over haste. They couldn't have been more wrong.
Let's jump to the Crucible, North Africa, November 1942, Operation Torch. The landings at Casablanca hit hard, and the 1st Infantry Division, Big Red 1, grizzled from the last war, clashes with Rommel's Afrika Korps in the shadow of Kasserine Pass. Dust Devils whip across the desert like ghosts, and the Germans, cocky from their El Alamein romp, spot these GIs toting their over-engineered pop guns. A Panzer Grenadier, a scarred veteran of the Desert Foxes, scribbles in his diary, later captured, "The Americans' rifle chatters like a typewriter. We thought it a gimmick, bound to jam in the sand. Then it spoke, and our line broke like dry reeds." 8 shots in 20 seconds, while the Kar 98K's bolt takes 3 heartbeats to cycle. The Garand's rate of fire, 40 aimed rounds a minute, sustained, double the Mauser's best. A German machine gun nest, laughing 1 minute, goes silent the next, cut down by a hail of 30-06. Triumph surges through the Yank ranks, pride swelling like the desert wind, but it's a bitter brew. For every foxhole taken, there's a boy from Dubuque or Des Moines left staring at the stars, his Garand clutched like a rosary, his dog tags glinting in the moonlight. Sicily, summer of '53, Operation Husky. The 82nd Airborne drops into the night. Silk shoots tangling in the wind, men landing hard amid olive groves and terror. Dawn breaks over Gila Beach, and the 7th Army's Rangers scale cliffs, Garand slung, hearts hammering like jackhammers. Below, Italian coastal batteries, manned by Germans now after Mussolini's fall, train their guns. Laughter drifts from the bunkers. Yankee rifles? Good for hunting rabbits, yeah? But as the first wave hits, it's poetry and powder smoke. Sergeant Bill Moore, 29th Infantry, tells his grandkids years later, "I slapped that clip in, and it was like the devil took the reins. Fired from the hip, dropped 3 before they could chamber a round. Their Mausers, one shot and a prayer. Ours, a symphony of salvation. The Rangers take the guns, but the cost is steep. 70% casualties in some units. Emotions crash like the waves on those rocks. Elation at victory, gut-wrenching grief for the ghosts left behind. You feel it, don't you? That hollow ache, the what if that lingers like gun smoke. War is no game, but the Garand, it turned underdogs into lions.
Then comes D-Day, the big one. June 6, 1944. 06:30 hours, Omaha Beach. The 116th Regiment, National Guard boys from Virginia and Minnesota, wade ashore under a storm of steel. MG-42s scream from the bluffs, pinning them behind the shingle, bodies piling like driftwood. German officers, Oberleutnants with iron crosses pinned to their chests, peer through binoculars, chuckling at the clunky American sticks bobbing in the surf. Bolt or bust, they toast, cycling their 98 Ks with the precision of a Prussian drill. But Private First Class John Barnes, Company E, 16th Infantry, crawls to a crater, mud caking his Garand. He racks the bolt, clink, and lets loose. Semi-auto fire stutters. 4 Germans crumple, their laughs buried in the sand. Reinforcements add their fire, and the beachhead holds, fragile as a thread of 30-06. By dusk, 2,000 Yanks lie dead, but the line's pushed inland. General Patton cables from England, the M1's the greatest battle implement ever devised. Pride burns hot, but sorrow soaks the soil, heavy as the tide. Let's pause here, folks, and step back to the rifle itself, because it's worth knowing what made this beast tick. The M1 Garand wasn't just a gun. It was a marvel of engineering, born from a nation that built skyscrapers and dams in the face of despair. That en-bloc clip? 8 rounds of 30-06 Springfield, each cartridge a 150-grain flat-based bullet propelled by 50 grains of IMR powder, screaming out at 2,800 feet per second. The gas system, ingenious, tapped pressure from the barrel's gas port, pushing a piston to cycle the action. No manual bolt work, no pause to reload after every shot. Compare that to the Kar 98K, 5 rounds, hand-cycled, each shot requiring a soldier to lift, pull, push, and lock the bolt, a process that took 2 to 3 seconds under perfect conditions, longer in the chaos of combat. The Garand's cyclic rate gave a GI the edge in a firefight, letting him suppress or advance while the enemy was still chambering. But it wasn't flawless. That ping, the clip ejecting after the 8th shot, could give away a position in a quiet moment. Soldiers learned to toss empty clips to fake it, draw an enemy fire. And the weight? 9.5 pounds unloaded, heavier than the K-98's 8 pounds. Yet it balanced so well a GI could fire from the shoulder or hip with equal ease.
Back to the war. Fall of 44, Hurtgen Forest, the green hell. Towering pines block the sky like cathedral spires. Rain falls in sheets. Mud swallows boots to the ankles. The 28th Division, nicknamed Bloody Bucket for their red keystone patch, grinds through, Garands shouldered against the damp. The Germans here? Seasoned Volksgrenadiers and Fallschirmjägers, paratroopers who fought from Crete to Cannes. They know these woods, setting ambushes like spiders spinning webs. A patrol from the 109th Regiment stumbles into a killing zone near Schmidt. German snipers perch in the branches, their K-98s cracking with deliberate precision. 1 shot, 1 kill, 1 breath to cycle. "The Americans come with their noisy toys," a captured Hauptmann sneers in interrogation, his lip curled like he's tasted sour wine. But leisure ends when Corporal Hank Riley, soaked to the bone, spots movement in the mist. No time for bolts. He shoulders his Garand, 8 rounds, rapid as rain on a tin roof. Trees splinter, 2 snipers drop like rag dolls. The squad surges, semi-auto fire drowning the forest's roar. By nightfall, the ambush is broken, but the cost is brutal. Frostbite, fever, friends frozen in the underbrush. Riley writes home to his mine, Ohio. "This rifle's my guardian angel. Fires faster than fear, hits harder than hate. But God, the echoes, they carry the names of the gone. Fear in the dark, relief at dawn, a fierce love for the tool that bought another day. The Garand didn't just kill, it empowered, gave a farm kid from Peoria the firepower of a platoon. Christmas 44, the Battle of the Bulge. Bastogne, an icebox under siege. The 101st Airborne, Screaming Eagles, are surrounded, cut off in a ring of snow and steel. German SS Panzers roll up, Panzerschrecks primed, their infantry jeering from the tree line, K-98s at port. "Surrender, Army! Your pup guns freeze like your resolve!" But General Anthony McCullough's reply, "Nuts," rings like a bell, and the Garand's answer. In the frozen Ardennes, semi-auto fire pins down assault waves. Lieutenant Dick Winters, Easy Company, 506th Paratroop Infantry, recalls, "One burst from my M1 and 3 Krauts dropped. Their bolts useless in the frenzy. That ping was our bell, tolling their end." Patton's Third Army breaks through, but not before 5,000 Eagles pay the price. Triumph tastes like frozen tears. Victory's sweet, but the graves are bitter as gall. The Garand's edge? Volume of fire. A squad of 10 GIs could pour out 80 rounds in seconds, while a German squad, cycling bolts, managed half that. It wasn't just a rifle, it was a force multiplier, turning desperate stands into defiant holds.
Spring 45, the Rhine. Remagen Bridge. A miracle span captured by the 9th Armored Division. GIs dash across, Garands covering engineers as German defenders, ragged, depleted, train their dwindling K-98s. The fire volume is overwhelming, semi-auto storms bridging the gap. A Wehrmacht Feldwebel, taken POW, admits through a translator, "We mocked your rifle at Anzio, called it the Yankee Chatterbox. In the end, it chattered our doom. Faster than our fingers, deadlier than our dreams." Berlin falls. The Reich crumbles. After-action reports credit the Garand with tipping infantry edges, higher hit rates, quicker maneuvers, squads that punched above their weight. Over 5 million M1s produced by war's end, arming every theater from Guadalcanal to the Elbe. The soldiers' words tell the tale. Audie Murphy, the Texas sharecropper turned Medal of Honor legend. "That M1 was part of me, reliable as sunrise, fierce as a cornered wolf." A captured German sergeant, his pride cracked, concedes, "Our Mauser was good, precise. But yours? It breathes fire like a dragon." Emotions collide, anger at the arrogance that prolonged the slaughter, sorrow for the millions lost on both sides, pride in the ingenuity that ended it. That ping? Not a flaw, but a fanfare. 8 rounds spent, ready for more. The Germans tried to catch up, fielding more STG-44s, their own semi-auto gamble, but it was too little, too late. The laughter had long faded to whispers.
Let's dig deeper, 'cause this rifle story ain't just steel and gunpowder. It's the heartbeat of the men who carried it. Take Private Joe Kowalski, 3rd Infantry Division, riding home from Anzio in 44. "Ma, this Garand's heavy, but it's true. Fired it in a rainstorm, mud up to my knees, and it didn't quit. Dropped a machine gunner at 200 yards, saved our squad. Wish I could tell you it feels good, but every shot takes something from you." Or Captain Sam Carter, 2nd Armored, at the Siegfried Line. "We hit a bunker, Krauts firing from slits. My boys laid down a wall of lead. Garands, not bars. Their bolts couldn't keep up. We took it, but I buried 6 men that day." These ain't just stories. They're fragments of lives, etched in letters, diaries, and declassified reports. The National Archives hold thousands. GIs praising the Garand's reliability, cursing its weight, mourning the brothers it couldn't save. The Germans felt it too. A 1943 report from a Panzer Group commander in Tunisia, translated post-war. "The American rifle's rapid fire disrupts our formations. Our squads, trained for deliberate aimed shots, cannot match the volume. We must adapt or perish."
Adapt they tried, rushing the STG-44 into service, a precursor to modern assault rifles, but production lagged and training faltered. By 1945, only 400,000 STGs saw action against 5 million Garands. The math didn't lie, and neither did the bodies.
The Garand's legacy stretched beyond Europe. In the Pacific, it faced the Japanese Type 99 Arasaka, another bolt-action, reliable but slow. On Guadalcanal, Marines like John Basilone wielded M1s to cut through jungle ambushes, the semi-auto Edge turning bonsai charges into killing fields. Post-war, the Garand armed South Koreans in the Korean War, faced off against Soviet SKS rifles, and even saw use in Vietnam's early days before the M14 and M16 took over. Over 6 million produced by 1957. When production ceased, its design influenced rifles worldwide, the Italian Beretta BM-59, the Japanese Type 4, even Soviet prototypes. But let's not romanticize it too much. War's a butcher's bill, and the Garand, for all its genius, was a tool of death. Every ping meant 8 rounds spent and often lives taken. GIs wrote of the guilt, men like Private First Class Eddie Malone, 4th Infantry, who scrawled in a 1944 journal, "I shot a German kid today, couldn't have been older than me. My Garand made it quick, but his eyes, I see 'em when I close mine." The rifle saved lives, won battles, but it carried a cost heavier than its 9 pounds. The sorrow lingers, a shadow behind the pride. So here we are at the end of the road. The M1 Garand, born from one man's grit in a smoky armory, baptized in the fire of freedom. The Germans laughed, sure, till that semi-auto song played them out. It's a lesson, folks. Underestimations of fool's tax, paid in blood. But American resolve, backed by ingenuity like Garand's, that's the dividend that wins worlds. The ping still echoes in museums, in attics, in the stories of old men who carried it. Rest easy, boys. Your rifle, your fight, your sacrifice, they ain't forgotten. Honor the past. Visit the National World War II Museum. Dig into the archives. Keep the flame alive.